everybody, Mark from Northeast Bass Fishing. How you doing? I'm going to do a video today on underspins. And this kind of came about just from a comment from one of my subscribers, Grandpa Woody. Thank you for the idea. But when I did my video, my bait room video on terminal tackle, he said, how about a video on underspins? And I hadn't really done one, so I figured now's a good time. I've got a few different kinds of underspins here. The first one I just showed you, this is the Roadrunner from Blakemore. This is the first kind, and maybe not necessarily this brand, that when I started throwing underspins, this is what I was throwing, like that pony style, horsehead style underspin. And I have some old ones here. I don't remember where I got these, who made them, but that was my original, experience with an underspin. I remember when they came out. And if you want to just look at some of these old ones that I have, these, pony style head ones, what an underspin is, if you've never used one, it's some type of a jig head. A lot of times they'll have this pony style head with a hook and an underspin, and some type of a spinner bait. Now you can see this one here. Some of these are really old and they're very rusty, and the old blade didn't even work. And you can see that I have replaced some of the terminal tackle on there and put this little chartreuse blade on there. Now I have bought, now these blades you guys will see here, these are for underspins. If I'm going to doctor up my underspin, I want to change something, I've got these from, I think, from Lower Parts Online, and you guys can see these are very tiny, Indiana blades. I just happen to show you the chartreuse ones. Small willows. These are for underspins when I want to change the hook out, and I've got lots of different sizes. As you guys can see here, I'll just kind of hold a few up. These are all different small blades, if I want to change them out, on an underspin. And usually at the end of the season, I'll just go through them. If they're all rusty, some of the components are in bad shape, I'll just, and I like the way that one catches fish, I'll just replace the blade, replace the O-ring, some of those clips there, the O-rings, things like that. And just to get that rusty, the old rusty stuff off there. So you can see I've probably, it looks like these ones and a lot of these, the paint is starting to come off. If I get ones, I'll show you here. I have these bags that just have some various brands in here. But a lot of them are, like this one here, which I'll show you more of in a minute. This is the Berkeley Underspin, which is a nice underspin. That fusion hook is really a good hook. But I think these are all that style that I'm talking about. Let me see if I get it out of the bag here. And you can see, like this one here, this one could use a new blade. See all the rust on that blade? So the hook is good. The bait itself is good, just the blade is rusty. So I'll just replace that. And I can replace it with whatever I want. You can see some of these I've replaced with other small willow blades. Oops. This is a bigger one here. That one I've replaced with kind of a hammered type blade, which you guys know I like hammered blades on spinnerbaits. Any of these. And what I'll do, if I could just pick one here. Pick this one. At the end of the season, now I don't really care if all that chips off and it's just like a lead color. What I'll do is I'll just take, some nail polish and just paint that up at the end of the season. Paint it up where all the paint is chipped off. If I see my hooks are in bad shape, now these ones all look pretty good. I must have just, done a pretty good job. This one's a little, I'll just go through. This is a nice little, this Easy E. I don't know if you can see that. Pretty bad shape. Easy E is the company. I think you can get them on Tackle Warehouse. This is a real easy file just to keep in your boat. It has a nice, and I just take I'll just, take the hooks at the end of the season or during the season if they're getting a little, just make sure get any of that rust that might have gotten on there. But this is the basic, I can remember when these first came out, and I was throwing them, and when I put like a Kitech or some kind of a small swim bait on these, it was great for smallies. Usually what I use as a trailer, and I'll just take this one out because you can see it good. I like the swing impact a lot. Whoops. The swing impact a lot from Kitech. It's one of my favorites for an underspin. Especially, you know, this size with this size of an underspin. Now we'll get to the bigger sizes in a minute here. But these really work well. Oops, let me make sure I do this right. I don't want to put it on backwards or upside down. It's real easy just to thread these on there. You just keep it in the middle of the swim bait. And that really gives that swim bait a little more flash, for the lack of a better term, because of that little blade. And I have found these little blades really work well, you know, when I'm throwing that underspin. Because that is really a terrible rigging job. Not even in the middle of the bait at all. That's a little better. That's a lot better. So that, and you can use the smaller size swing impact. I kind of like the 4-inch size. And when I'm fishing, you know, especially early season or clearwater lakes, now in the fall when that bait is small, this is a killer, you know, setup. A 4-inch swing impact on the underspin of your choice. Now you can use, I just happen to use these ones because I had them out, because these are the ones I tend to go with first, just to see how it's going. If you want to get, you know, throw one a little bigger. Now this is some of those Casey Ashley versions from Blakemore that I just happen to have in a bag here. I'll show you. With a bigger blade. Now, it's that same pony style head, horse head, whatever you want to call it, but it's got a bigger, flashier blade. Now on this, I probably would stick with, I'll stick with this swim bait, which will fit fine on there. But you could even get, you know, it depends on how much, these are going to give you a lot of action, these Kitechs, because they're very soft. If you want something a little stiffer, maybe you don't want as much side to side, this is a 4-inch, this is a little bigger, this is a 4.4. This is that Divine swim bait from 6 Cents. It's a little harder plastic, so you may not get as much of that side to side action. But now, I may use a different color to match better, but they're all, I'm just trying to show you this, just how. And this is a harder plastic, as you'll find when you, and what it does is it has that nice slot in there. So I just gotta go right to where that little slice is in the top of the bait. And this is a little tougher plastic. It's a little more stiff, so it won't have that big tail action. And you've got a bigger, this is obviously a lot bigger blade than these little guys. Now, as I said, I usually start with these little guys, but I'll try these bigger blades as we go along. And these 4.5 inch, even, you know, if you want to go to that 3, you know, that smaller 3, I tend to, you know, start at 4 and work my way up. You know, it's a nice way to add some action and some flash to your swim baits. Now, just to show you a few more options here. Now, you guys have seen these horse, you know, these pony style heads. I think this might be, this feels a little heavier. This might be a 3/8 ounce. And I do have, I got so many baits here I wanted to show you. I do have a lot of the Blakemores in this 1/4 ounce, and that's, you know, just some different, that's the one they call albino. And you can still get these in Tech Warehouse, wherever you buy your baits. This is a 3/8, that's just the pearl head. Here's a 3/8 with the albino. This bluegill color is cool, that's in the 3/8. See what else I got here. I think the rest of these are 1/4 ouncers. Pearl in the 1/4 ounce. It looks like another pearl in the 1/4 ounce. Yeah, another in the pearl. Looks like they're all pearl. I tend to stick with the pearls, as you can see. A lot of pearls in a 1/4 ounce. Here's an old one I got, which is the same idea. just a smaller version, a 1/4 ounce. This is from Dave's Bait and Tackle. Used to be a really great fishing store that I used to go to when I'd visit my mom up in Sagandaga. But he's, you know, retired from the business and sold all his stuff, but still have some of his baits around. A very popular one that I like and I use often is the fish head one, which is a very popular brand. Which I think this fish head spin, Swarm and Hornet, I think they became fish head spin. I think it's pretty much the same company. I might be wrong, but I have a lot of these, you know, from back in the day. I used like that perch one was always cool. And a lot of these are either 1/4 ounce or 3/8. I don't think I have any that are heavier. I might have some 1/2 ounce. If I see one, I'll show it to you. That's a 1/4 ounce. You can see the old Frank Tackle sticker on there. Got that one there. But this is a very popular, a very good, a nice one that I use a lot if I'm going for those bigger size ones. And I'll show you one close up here. So it's a little bulkier head, obviously, than that pony head I was showing you. And you can get them with, if you like gold blades, you like silver blades, whatever you'd like. But any style of a swim bait, this is that 6th Sense Divine again, will fit nicely on there. Let's rig that on there for you. Kind of go through the same holes before, and it's a great combo. And there's lots of other options you guys can put on. Let me show you a few other ones. Get some of these out of the way. So I'm not showing you the same one twice. As I said, the Swing Impact 4-inch is a great one. It's usually the one I'll start with just to see how they're eating the underspin. There's another one of the Swing Impacts with the Frank's Tackle sticker on it. But let's see. You can also go with your 3/8. Your Swing Impacts are also good for these. I'll use them just as much as I'll use. Now this is, what is this? What color is this? This is black shad. So if I was going to throw the black shad, let's see if I can match it up here. This is kind of like a black shad fish head spin. So you can see this Kitech will match very well with this fish head spin. And do I think you have to match? No, I don't think so. You can kind of go with some different options. Maybe give the fish something they're not used to. I tend to kind of keep everything somewhat uniform. But what's nice is the Kitechs have that slot right down the middle. You just pop that on there, and that's really a great combination right there. I don't know what they call that fish. They probably call it black shad, but that's the black shad. Is that a 3/8? Did I say? That's the 3/8 black shad Kitech Swing Impact Fat, which gives you a little more, meat in there to put on that bigger hook, as opposed to the, these are a little thinner, so I tend to use those small ones on the thinner Kitechs. The fat are good on this. Now that's a great underspin setup. I almost don't even want to take that apart, and next time I go fish, just to throw that, because it's really, really awesome. But I will, just to show you some other options here. But the fat Kitechs are great too for it. Like I said, there's the 3/8. You can use that. Let's see. The Sexy Shad's a nice color. It matches with a lot of nice underspins. I always do well with that. If you want to go a little smaller with a 3/3, you can get away with a 3/3. Now here's a 3/3, and what do we got here? Perch. Perch is always a great color. I could take one of these perch ones and put it on one of these old horse heads. Let's say I'll take this one that I doctored up. Gave it that chartreuse blade, and this 3/3 should fit on here nicely. And it's, like I said, it's the fat's good because it's got a little more bulk to it on the top there to get the hook through. And just follow along to that slot on top, and that's really a good setup right there. That smaller Kitech with that smaller horse head underspin, little chartreuse blade, might attract some more fish. But that's a real nice combo right there. It's another one I don't want to take off, but I will, just to show you guys. But here's another option for you. I also like to use, occasionally, I'll use these like a Fluke Junior on the smaller ones. Like that small little Fluke works great on an underspin. And this is a little tougher plastic, so it goes through, stays on there pretty good, doesn't tear up as easy. And just go through the top of the bait, down the middle. Didn't really do a great job putting that on, but you guys get the idea. If you don't want that boot tail, the Fluke Junior especially is good. I use the Fluke Junior more than the regular size Fluke. You can use the regular size Fluke, I'll show you here, on those bigger ones. I wouldn't recommend it on these tiny guys, these tiny ones. But like this, if I go for the full size Fluke, like let's say this Sexy Shad Super Fluke here, which is a bigger bait, I'm going to definitely use a bigger underspin. This, as you can see, is a big piece of plastic. So I'm going to use that bigger underspin. Let's see what we got here. This one here actually looks like it might match it pretty good. Now, as I said, you don't have to always match the head, I don't think. With this one, I have definitely replaced the blade and put like that, you know, scale pattern blade on there. So I'm sure the blade was probably all rusty. But you could take your Zoom Fluke. This is the Super Fluke, the big size. And just go right through the center of your bait. Hope you guys can see that good. Go right through the middle. Try to keep it as straight as you can. You don't want it to swim funny. And just cinch it down. Could probably come back a little further, but just for demonstration purposes, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. But there you go. Use on the big Fluke like that, I would definitely use this bigger underspin. So lots of options, lots of options. A few other options that you have. Get this out of the way. Let's see what else I got here, actually, underspin-wise. I showed you those. This is just some various brands here that I don't know where I got from, but some different blade options. This one has 2 blades, almost like a spinner bait. I don't remember who made these for me. But that's kind of a cool, if you see that out there, might be something you want to try with. That's got 3 blades on it. So there's lots of cool options, and if you're tinkering around, you could even make these yourself. You could come up with pretty much anything. I don't think this company, this SK bait company, exists. When I looked them up online before, I could only find them on eBay, so I don't know if they still. And I don't even know where I bought these. At a show, but. You know, there's your basic underspin setup right there. Jig head with a blade of some type. So whatever brand you like, you know, I think probably nowadays most people are probably using either these, the Blakemores, you know, or, you know, the fish head spins. They're probably the most popular, unless, you know, you want to go for the big guy, like I'll show you in a minute, the flashy swimmer. But I showed you all the different blades. Berkeley makes the Fusion, makes their version, which is really nice. Their underspin has a great hook. I think I have one out and I showed you, yeah. I mean, that Fusion hook is really sharp. It's a nice blade. If you like that one, that's a good one to go with. I don't remember who made, I think these are Strike Kings. With that razor blade or whatever they call it. I think these are Strike Kings. I don't remember. But that's for a big, that's for a big piece of plastic. Now, if I was going to use one like this, I would probably go for something, one of my bigger swim bait type baits. Let me see what I got here that I can show you. Like, let's go with a Skinny Dipper, Reaction Innovations. That big of a hook, which I don't know if that's a 4-aught or what that is, but it's a pretty big hook. I would definitely go with a big piece of plastic, like let's say a Skinny Dipper. Now, any one you want, whatever brand you like, it's up to you. But if you just want to add a little action, a little flash, a little something to your swim bait, I mean, that's a nice option right there. That's a big hook. So something 5-inch like that you could use if you want to. And that's another Skinny Dipper right there. That Reaction Innovations is a good one. The swimming fluke is another good option. You guys could try that on there. Some of these are some smaller baits, like the Berkeley Ripple Shad. A couple different colors there. It's fine to try that. The Bass Assassin has a nice tail kick to it. You could try that on there. The Swimming Caffeine Shad is a nice swim bait you could try. Some of the smaller ones you could try if you want to go back. You want to try that Hesdong Shad from Mega Bass. That's a good one. I've used that on occasion. Works pretty good. A Spark Shad, 4-inch. If you're going to put that on, I would go with the 4-inch. The smaller ones I wouldn't necessarily use on a underspin. Got the old Chaos Shad, or the Chaos X from Beast Coast. I don't think they make these anymore. It's a nice little underspin swim bait. You can use the Demiki, like if you wanted to go something small, this Demiki 3-inch on one of these tiny ones. I'll show you that quick. It's a nice setup. If you want to go more finessey, because you can see that's a tiny little bait, more of a drop shot bait. But we've got that little tiny hook on one of these underspins. It fits on there nice. And if you're not looking for that, necessarily that kicking tail, that boot tail, throw that Armor Shad on there, and get pretty finessey right there. That Armor Shad. Or I showed you guys that video of those new drop shot baits I got from Great Lakes Finesse. Would be cool in there. It's very similar to the Demiki Armor Shad. Let's see. Now these other ones, like these are bigger ones, like these Strike Kings. I don't know who made me these or where I bought them, but that's kind of cool. If you guys have these and you've seen them before, you know who made them. With those 2 blades underneath there. It's a pretty neat idea. Haven't thrown them as much as the regular ones, but it's definitely cool. I don't want to have so much vibration from the blade that's messing up the vibration from my swim bait either, so I don't want to go too crazy with my blades. Now, if you're going to go like a bigger underspin type, this sling blade from Venom is pretty cool. That's one with Indiana blade on it. That's one with just a gold blade. It's a nice option if you'd like to try. That's the black red ½ ounce. So it's ½ ounce, 3/8, and I think a quarter. So Venom makes a nice one. I'm assuming they're still making these. I showed you guys, I believe, oops, dropping them all over the place. I showed you guys the Berkeley one. That's always a nice option. And one of the more popular ones, I think, with guys, especially if they're throwing bigger baits, bigger swim baits, is the Flashy Swimmer. So if you're going to throw a big swim bait, let me see how big these ones are. That one's in the bag. Let me see how big these ones are that are just kind of separate here. And that's a pretty big hook. And not that big, really, of a blade. So that blade is not going to overpower whatever swim bait you're putting on there. But let's see what we got here. Oop, that's a little smaller. That's definitely a smaller hook. That's definitely a bigger hook. So that I would use on something like maybe one of these big creepers from Beast Coast. Maybe this Mag Draft Freestyle, something like that. Then you can really put your big, you know, swim baits, because you've got the screw in here. And, you know, really anything you want to use. I've got, you guys can see back here, there's a lot of different swim bait ideas. Like even one of these guys. Yeah, one of these guys here. These would all work for that. You know, it really just depends on what you want to throw. And let me see how this freestyle here. Maybe I'll try and rig that up for you quick. Now this one, I know that the nose is a little torn up from my, but all you do is screw it in the nose. Whoops. Easier said than done, Mark. Well, that one has a torn nose. I write from my, you guys saw the other video when I tried that big, huge tush. It kind of ripped the nose on that guy there. Gotta glue that together. But when you put these in, just go right straight in the nose, and then just twist it. Now this, I don't know. You know what? There's enough of a, I think this will work. I haven't tried it on here yet, on one of these freestyles, because that has a lot of plastic, but it has a big cavity. And you can even dig that out a little if you have to. So I just kind of line it up where it's going to go with my thumb, and then just cinch it back, and go straight through the bait, up to the back. Actually did that pretty good for doing it on camera. And then you can throw your flashy swimmer. You're going to have that with your, and I would probably leave this up a little bit. I don't want it to go too buried. You might lose them. Hookups are always an option, you know, a struggle with these big baits. But that on that, I've never tried on there. If you guys have tried on there, you might tell me, yeah, Mark, it doesn't work. There's too much plastic. You could probably carve out a little plastic on top of this. And there might even be better swim bait options. I just tried that one because I had it here for you guys. But you could give it a try and see. I am concerned that the gap on that hook, I might want a bigger one. Like that's a 5/0. I don't think this is a 5/0. That mag draft might be a little too bulky for it. So maybe something a little smaller. But you guys get the idea. It's a very easy setup. So I would want something maybe a little thinner. But the flashy swimmer with that big hook, like there's a 5/0. I'm not sure if this is a 5/0 too. Can't really tell. It looks close. It might be a 4, but I guess it could be a 5. But if you guys want your bigger swim baits, the flashy swimmer is a very popular way to go, and plus you can be more weedless. You don't have that exposed hook on top. If you're throwing it around grass, maybe wood, you can, you know, get a little more aggressive with your casts. But the flashy swimmer is a very popular way to go. But that's it, guys. That's the different underspins I have. If you have thrown another kind of underspin that you want to recommend to me, I'm more than happy to give it a try. As I said a few times, I always start with these small guys first, just to see how the fish are reacting. A lot of times this on just a Kitech is, I can throw that all day and catch fish. I found it works great on smallie lakes, especially in clear water. If they're chasing bait, the underspin on a Kitech, a 4-inch Kitech, 3/8, a fat, if you want to go with the fat Kitech, is just it's hard to beat. It's really hard to beat. And if you're, you know, if you've got ones you like, the hooks are starting to go, or you want to try, or the blades are starting to get a little rusty, and you want to try some of these different options, you know, go to Lure Parts Online. You can change out your blades and kind of do anything you want, really. You know, if you want to try a chartreuse blade, let's say you want to throw this in a little dirtier water, a chartreuse blade or white blade can really get you some more bites. So I'm sure there's probably 100 other swim baits I could have shown you guys. Those are the basic ones that I use. Most of the time I'm using the Kitex to do it. I do like the fluke on there too. But you know, I always seem when I start throwing an underspin, I start with these little horse heads, pony heads, with a small hook and a Kitex, and I just chuck them around. You know, 1/4 ounce bait, and they throw pretty far. I can throw these on a bait caster with, you know, like, you know, 12 plus fluoro. And it works great. It's great. You can cover a lot of water. And when the fish are on small bait, it can be the best thing you're throwing that day. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's any questions on any of this, as I said, there's probably 100 other swim baits you could try. If you have one you like, let me know. Share it with everybody else in the comments. And I'm sure probably later I'll think of some things I forgot that I like to use. But that's pretty much the gist of it. So, you know, if you guys haven't tried them, especially in the fall when that water starts to cool down, I found these really, really work great. To me, the times I throw these the most are the spring and the fall. So grab yourself a couple next time you're ordering some tackle, whether you want the fish head or you like the Blakemore, whatever brand you like. If you have a different one you're using, if you like the flashy swimmer because you like to be a little more weedless, you can do that. Go with it. They're all good. They all catch fish. They all have a nice flash. Depends on how big of that blade you like to use and what the fish are telling you. But that's it. Like I said, any questions, put them in the comments. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys soon on YouTube. Mark out.